Hi everyone, welcome to another episode by Poor Man Gamer. Today we're going to go through one of my favorite tech lab units, which is the Kodiak. You're going to notice that in a lot of my videos I emphasize playing a fast game, trying to beat the opponent before they get a chance to get there, winning the missiles, and basically continuously push your way there. But as you can take a look in my deck, I believe my giant ugly head is covering that, so that was a terrible start. I apologize. I'm going to show you some of my replays on how I actually use a tech lab unit, and it's actually one of my favorites, which is the Kodiak. The reason I don't use the Titan or the Wolverine or a lot of those is because I find that they're kind of redundant. My Predator tank does basically what a Titan does, just with one tile range, and my Wolverine is just to shred infantry in air. But if I want to shred infantry, I have Rhinos and Shockwaves for that, and to counter air I usually just use a Pitbull, and I find that to be sufficient. So there is a rhyme and reason why I use a Kodiak, is because it is a really effective base killer. I know that the Disruptor says that it's good against buildings, but trust me, the Kodiak is even better because the Disruptor is so slow to fire. So in this matchup, I'm playing against somebody from Tiberium Shores 2. I don't know if that has anything to do with Terminus Shores and Tiberium Shores, and I don't know, all those shores, right? But I'm going to show you guys what I do. A lot of people ask, well, how do you use the Rhino effectively? It seems so slow. So I'm going to go real slow down here. You can see in the beginning, instead of me engaging his missile squad right away, I actually wait for a second Rhino to come out to see if I can get a 2-on-1. Typically, the opponent would counter with even more missile squads, in which case I'm okay with, but he counters with bikes. Rather than foolishly rush in, you're going to notice how I actually back off both of my units, okay? So that I can roll up my Pitbull. Now my Rhino took some damage, not a lot, it's okay. I moved the Rhino, let's take a look here. I believe I was able to move the Rhino just out of his Fog of War, you see that? Because I know that the bike only has a 1 tile or 2 tile visibility, so look at that. He forgot that my Rhino is there. And so if you flip back to my screen, right, I am able to sneak up my Rhino on his missile squad and take it out very quickly by going 2-on-1. He moved his bike a little bit too far away, got a little too fancy with his micro. He probably should have stayed where he was. And now I see a tank, and it's my turn to roll the Predator tank. I let the Predator tank soak up the damage first, then I run my Pitbull up to start shooting him, except he's pretty smart. He actually targeted my Pitbull instead of my Predator tank. So fortunately we're able to take it out. I lose my Rhino, but at this stage it's okay because I have 2 Predator tanks. They are actually very tanky units, right? And I don't pun intended. So take a look what happens here. He's very smart. He rolls to his laser drones knowing that my Predator tank can't attack him. And he's got a missile squad on the top. Rather than heads up engaging him and using my Predator tank and soaking up more damage, I actually rush his Harvester using this opportunity, right? He's got 3 laser drones, but they don't do very well against Pitbulls. So my Pitbull now, well actually that's not true. They do well against Pitbulls, but I have a Predator tank right now and the pressure's on him. So look at this, boom, you see how much health that took? When the Seth Pot first rolls out, it is actually considered a vehicle. I'm able to get on that second missile tile just in time. He moved off prematurely, and that was his mistake. He thought he had that missile. He shouldn't have moved off. I'm guessing he moved off because he just realized that his Harvester was down for the count. And so as I'm fighting him, you can clearly see that this guy knows what he's doing, right? He's not just a regular guy who's messing around. He leaves my Predator tanks alive to target so he can wipe them out really quick. His mistake again, I go 3-on-1. This is where, because I was able to take out his Harvester twice now, I roll up my Kodiak. I believe that in the long game, if he kept up his microing, I don't believe I would be able to beat him. So I roll up my Kodiak all the way to the top, and I basically just send it to crush his base, right? He micros his units very well, but there only 1 unit can get on it, right? 1 tile. And so that's how I use the Kodiak very effectively to crush the enemy base. I'm going to show you a second scenario now where we don't get a dominant win, but we do get a matchup where he places his Giga Cannon really well. My deck does not have an air vehicle. I don't use an Orca. Not because I don't like it, but because I do still find them a bit fragile, and I'm still working out the little tweaks as to how I can use it most effectively. So once again, I start out with a Rhino. A lot of people are opposed to this because they feel the Rhino's not very strong. There are ways of doing it if you're up against a whole field of missile squads, right? They're pretty easy to level up because they're common units, so you should be able to get the cards very quickly. I love the Rhino personally. I roll out Rhino first. I don't roll out the second one because what I'm waiting to do is see if he rolls out more missile squads. He eventually does, so I'm trying to get the first fire advantage, which is why I pull back. So look at this little song and dance here. He sends his missile squad down, which is really smart on his part. I couldn't get my Rhino out in time. I'm trying to send my stronger Rhino up against his units. I'm trying to minimize building Rhino because I want to get my tank out. I want to observe first to see what he's doing. I noticed that he's got a whole lot of missile squads, and to win this match, I'm going to need those Rhinos, which is why I'm rolling them out now. He's a pretty sharp player. Look what he does here. He rolls out a Giga Cannon, knowing that he's baited me with his vehicles. The reason I was able to willing to roll out the Rhino is because I saw how little time there was left on the missile. I was thinking maybe I can hold it, and I actually almost lose it. Fortunately, Colonel Jackson's heroic charge is pretty good. I'm able to take out his Giga Cannon. I roll out another Predator tank. I engage with my Rhino against his flame troops on the bottom, and now I'm able to roll out my jump jet troops. A couple times in a row, he almost got this missile from me, and if he took it, this game would have been totally different. As you can see, this guy, D. Greg from Clan Storm, he's a pretty decent player, right? He is a good player. So I was just fortunate that I had stronger units. That's really all it was. If we had same level units, I honestly believe I would have lost that first missile, right? So we were able to take out his tank. I'm still trying to keep my jump jets away from him. He's rolling out a second set of flame troops. Very, very smart on his part. I'm doing what I can to gang up on his... Okay, so let's take a look here, right? The reason I went after his harvester is because I needed a distraction and pull one of his flame troops away while trying to engage his Giga Cannon on the top. He's very smart. He was able to redirect his flame troops. I did not expect him to roll out a second one that quickly. Now look at the alignment here. He's got 3 infantry units and a Giga Cannon. All I have is ground units. So naturally, this should get me in trouble, right? I roll in with a Predator tank because it soaks up a lot of damage and it does a really good job in doing that, rather than engaging his Giga Cannon. So look here. Instead of engaging a Giga Cannon again when it's all charged up, I'm actually stalling out the missile, which is against what I typically do, because I realize that I need an air unit. I need to get his harvester so that I have the economy to roll out a Kodiak. He's got all ground units right now, right? I roll out just one more. I was fortunate I was able to snipe his Giga Cannon there because his flame troops couldn't get me in time. As you can see right now, he's got complete total domination of the map. That one Giga Cannon I can't get on the tile, but out comes the Kodiak, and here's why I love the Kodiak. Now I go on all 3 tiles. I make sure he can't stall it out. The Phantom, it just took 2 shots from a Phantom, took another 2 shots from a Phantom, right? And you notice that it actually takes him a full 3 recharges before he takes on my Kodiak. So I do use Tech Lab units. I'm not anti-Tech Lab units. It's just is not for every situation. So far we have seen in the first 2 battles. The first battle I was able to use the Kodiak to rush their base and crush it because I had an advantage. The second one I used the Kodiak to contest the middle to help me win. I'm going to show you guys 2 more matches, and make sure you stay and watch that 4th match because it is absolutely incredible. It was so close, right? Like after you watch it, you're not going to believe how close it really was, right? You're gonna watch it and be like, wow, that's crazy. So once again, I started with a harvester. Nothing too fancy right now. I try actually rolling out with my Pitbull because I'm so used to rolling out with a the Rhino. I figured I'd mix it up, and lo and behold, would you look at that? It's a tank. So if you guys want to figure out how to survive a tank rush, this is how you do it, right? I back away my harvester to give some distance and keep his tank occupied, and I just keep moving my harvester away as best I can to defend it. And then usually when people have a tank start, it means that their own harvester is going to be off to a slower start. So I try to rush his harvester, and he comes out with a tank, yada yada yada, nothing too special, right? I'm just trying my best to take out his harvester. I run around to the other side, and I notice he builds second tank. This is when I know I need to strategically retreat. It's something that I tell everyone to do, and it's something I'm trying to practice more of myself. I roll up my own predator tanks. Right? By retreating, it gives my tank some more time. I try to stack on the top to gang up on that one scorpion tank, and we're able to take it out, which is great. And then now he's down one tank, and my second predator tank rolls out. That goes down. I do see his banshee, and I back him off, right? And I also back off my harvester, and I allow my pitbull to engage it. So again, strategic retreat. What's the point of taking on damage for no reason? The only reason I roll up my Lieutenant Strong Arm is because typically in these decks I use Colonel Jackson for his heroic charge. But I figured I have Lieutenant Strong Arm, I forgot to switch it back in, I'll use it to my advantage, right? Take out an extra unit while I can. So now it's a tank-on-tank battle. A level 10 Predator tank is going to beat a level 9 Scorpion tank at full health every time. In fact, a level 9 Predator tank will beat a level 9 Scorpion tank one-on-one, right? It's got more health and is beefier. So now I'm actually going to send my Predator's tank down to rush his harvester, right? And all it takes is that one more shot. I'm able to get 100 Tiberium crystals. I'm stacking again to focus fire on his harvester. I want to do as much damage as I can, but I noticed that my rush is not successful. So I'm just really drawing his tanks away to let me charge up the missile a little more. He doesn't seem like he's interested in charging up his missile. I was hoping that I could sneak out a Kodiak across the top, that he doesn't have a Phantom, but unfortunately he does, and now my Pitbull has to engage it. If I had a Colonel Heroic Charge right now, I'd run my Kodiak all the way to the top. It may be so much more effective. So now my Kodiak just serves as a glorified distraction, which actually panned out really well. He's now getting desperate, and he sends a Tiberium missile to take out my Pitbull, but because I've been spamming Pitbulls and keeping this missile charged the whole time, I negate his advantage with the double harvester, and we're able to pick up this win. So now here comes the fourth and final match, right? It is so close, and I hope you guys gained something out of this video as much as I did. As you can see, I've now used a Kodiak in 3 different situations. 1, to rush the base, 2, to help hold the middle, and 3, as a glorified distraction so I can win the missile. So unfortunately his name is blocked off in this video. We can figure out what it is at the end, because I want to give this guy props. He is a really, really good player. A lot of you guys ask me, how do you survive rushes in the beginning? Right? There's the rush. Look at that. It's a very, very typical rush. He opens with a shockwave slash jump jet troop. So I actually give some space for my Rhino to attack his jump jet troops. My priority is his jump jet troop, and I am able to kill it off with just the Rhinos, right? I'm able to scare away his shockwave so that my harvester can get back on the tile. Right now, all I'm trying to do is block off and scare him off. I want to keep him away from my harvester as much as possible. Look at that. I do a really, really poor job here. I should have kept my Rhino back a little bit more, right, and move my shockwave down and then roll off from the top. But instead, because I made a bad decision and I had bad micro there by clicking the wrong thing, I lost my harvester, right? It's not until now he finally built his, but I could have given myself a much better advantage. Everyone makes mistakes. I live with mine. That's okay. I roll out 2 shockwaves because of his heavy infantry presence in the beginning, right? And so it's not a bad thing. I run my shockwave to the top to jump on another missile tile, and I use my Pitbull to rush his Orca. I have found Pitbulls to be a very, very effective unit against the Orcas, and that's why I don't really run more anti-air than just my Pitbull, to be honest with you. It just seems to do the job, and you're going to see throughout this match that it works. So now I'm going to send my Predator tank to the top and start pressuring his Harvester just to see how he likes it, right? Unfortunately, that Orca does a lot more damage than I anticipated. I'm trying my best now to go back, and I'm going to lose my Harvester again, but it's a trade-off. So far, I've delayed him so long that him sniping my Harvester really didn't give him a huge strategic advantage, and I took his Harvester, so it's a better trade-off, right? I let my Pitbull there die, and I let my Predator tank die because I want to refresh my units. I have enough of an economy right now to not worry about building a Harvester right away. My priority right now in this stage of the game is to try to win the missile. He rolls out a jump jet squad to counter my Pitbull because I thought that he would build a second Harvester, right? And now he's got a whole lot of ground units and he actually has a big strategic advantage. I'm waiting for the missile to charge up a little more before I roll up my shockwaves in there to try to do more damage. With the 2 orcas in the middle, it's actually pretty hard to break through. I go down there and take out the last of his shockwave troops, thinking that my Pitbull and sending my guys in 2 different directions would be sufficient. His level 10 orcas unfortunately took out my Pitbull in 1 shot. I didn't know that it could be 1-shotted. I almost get on this missile, but he was able to take out my shockwave troops in the bottom. I lose this second missile. And this is where it becomes a crazy, crazy exciting game. So I don't want to spoil it for you, but I somehow win this game even though I lost this 3rd missile. Yeah, crazy. I'll show you how. So right now I am forcing his Harvester. I'm sending my jump jet troops to fight off his Predator tanks. Right? I let my Rhino die because there's not much value in it right now, and I start rolling up my Kodiak. I actually do have my Colonel strong arm, so I charge it up. I was able to mostly avoid his blast. I noticed he has a lot of ground units, which is why I rolled out my Kodiak at the time. So I'm trying to pound his base away, right? And because of that, because I have a bad economy and he's got the middle completely held up, I actually lose this missile. You see that? Watch in slow motion. I lose this missile, but I managed to destroy his base after he launches the missile. So his base technically died. So even though I lost that 3rd missile, I got the win because of that Kodiak. Isn't that crazy? Right? I've never seen that before, where you lose that 3rd missile and you still win the match. So that was just so much fun, and I thought I had to share it with you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys would like to share some of your replays, please feel free to join a public clan. It's called Poor Man Gamer. Look us up, join the clan, and if you want to share your replays to figure out where you went right, where you went wrong, and you just want to brag, please join. You're more than welcome to. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Take care.